All right, it is time for the 11warriors.com web report. And guys, this is what we've been waiting for. This is Ohio State. It is Penn State. All that is stake is everything, right? For Ohio State, you lose here, you're out of the national championship picture. You want to talk Heisman implications? The front runner plays for your opponent. The third pick in the betting chance is your quarterback. That is the setup. If you want high stakes, we have them. Ohio State had the bye week, Evan. Let's start with you before we get into the X's and O's. What's going on? What is that week like when you sit it off and then you prepare and you see Penn State sitting out there on a Saturday?
Absolutely. I mean, it gives you the time to just take a deep breath. You know, realistically, once you're in the thick and gritty of a season, that deep breath is one of the most important things because it allows the ticky-tack injuries to heal up a little bit better, to feel a little bit better about yourself when you're going into practice. So you can prepare, because at the end of the day, the most prepared team is going to win this game. You know, so being able to take a step back, being able to watch the game, and being able to watch all the other games around college football really allows you to see, okay, I see where we are in the national picture, and we can do these things. So having a bye week before a game like this is crucial. I mean, it's awesome that it's got a chance to end up like this year. But then again, you know, it's full metal jacket time. Tuesday, Bloody Tuesday. You know, like I said earlier, it's going to be first, second down, and this, you know, probably one of the more important pieces of the game plan. And come Saturday is the first and second down. So today's going to be a big day, followed by red zone and third down tomorrow, and then just putting everything together and coming together on Thursday and being able to have a great football team.
Dan, we were able to watch along with the Buckeyes what Penn State did, and what was most impressive to me about Penn State was they come out, they have all the momentum over Michigan last week, and then all of the momentum goes away. And they allow Michigan, if Michigan is worth a dang, they allow Michigan to come back and maybe even win the game, but then they get the momentum back. Like, it takes a great team to have the momentum in the beginning, to give it up, and then get it back and dominate in the second half. I was floored. Not floored, because I thought they were pretty good, but I was very impressed with what Penn State is.
Absolutely. I mean, when Michigan brought the game back to, I believe, 14-13, I thought this was going to be a close game, second half. This is going to be a dogfight to the end, and then Penn State just opened it up, and they just really rolled over them. And, I mean, that, to me, really sold me on how good a team Penn State is. I mean, you're talking offensively. You know, their offensive numbers, as much talent as they have, they weren't spectacular going into this game, but to put up 500 yards on Michigan's defense, which was ranked #1 in the country going into this game, that was a spectacular performance. And then defensively, Penn State leads the country. They've only allowed 9.6 points allowed per game. We put so much attention on Saquon Barkley, but we look at how consistent this defense has been. Has not allowed more than 19 points per game this season. This is a team that's a really complete team, and they're going to bring a real tough challenge to Ohio Stadium this weekend.
All right, let's talk to the captain about the breakdown. Let's start when Ohio State has the football going up against that Penn State defense that Dan reiterated is the best in the country, or one of the best, certainly. I would think it would be power run option tempo. That's what it would be. How do you sense Ohio State comes out first possession to get it rolling?
Obviously, we're going to have to play off of our momentum. You know, if we don't get the ball first and we get a big-time turnover or something like that, sometimes shots are in call early on in the game to get a shock to their system and to really, rejuvenate our crowd. But at the end of the day, this is a game that's going to come down to, football, controlling the ball, and field position. So those things all are conducive to a great running game. So I expect a lot of runs, a lot of dynamic runs, whether it be with J.K. Dobbins, whether it be with Mike Weber and/or K.J. Hill. If Paris comes back and is healthy enough to go for this game, we're probably going to see some wrinkles there too. I mean, we have a lot of different, finite little niches in our offense that are really, really hard to match up against. So I think those things are going to be what controls the ball for us, and then ultimately being able to have a good special teams. We've got to be able to rely on placing the ball in corners and being able to play great defense and having them march all the way down the field.
You've hit on special teams a lot. It's something that people don't want to acknowledge much because it's not as interesting, I think, as offense, defense, and all the star power. But typically, when you play games where talent is of equal, it's special teams and turnovers is how these things get flipped. So back to the Buckeye offense. I don't believe Ohio State can win unless JT's great. I mean, he can't be just good. He's got to be great because I think Penn State's that good. I guess what this comes down to is everything we've been seeing the last 5 weeks. Is it a mirage or is it real?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the game we're going to find out. This is the game we're going to be waiting for. I mean, JT Barrett, over the last 5 weeks, if you look at the numbers, he's been the best quarterback in the country from a statistical standpoint the past 5 weeks. But there's still so many people who doubt him because he hasn't done it in the recent big games. So this is it. This is where you prove everything you've done the last 5 weeks. This is real improvement. This is really getting trust with my receivers, getting comfortable with these offensive coordinators. And I agree, he's got to go out and play a great game. Because I should say, of all the love I gave to the Penn State defense, this is, without a doubt, the best offense they will have played all year. But for Ohio State's offense to be that best offense and to take advantage, it all comes down to J.T. Barrett, because he's the engine that makes that offense go.
It feels like deja vu to me. I remember being in East Lansing when he was a freshman. You guys went up there, and he played his best game, I think, as a Buckeye quarterback. He lit him up, and that vaulted him into the national picture, vaulted him in the Heisman race. This game comes at about the same time on the schedule. I think that Michigan State game was first weekend in November, so it's about the same time on the schedule. A like opponent, highly regarded, and he just lit him up. Now, can he do that? We'll see, but I think that's where this thing goes offensively for Ohio State. Let's flip the script and let's talk about the Buckeye defense, Evan. Boy, Penn State can do everything.
Yes, they
can. They got big receivers on the outside. They got a monster mini Gronk at tight end. They got McSorley, who's kind of like riverboat gambler kid who makes a lot of plays, got a lot of game to him. And then they've got the most complete running back in the country in Saquon Barkley. What's your game plan? How do you go about slowing them? I don't think you're going to stop them, but how do you slow them?
No, I mean, that's an offense that just has great rhythm. You know what I'm saying? They bust off a run, and then everything is downhill from there. They bust off a big run, and then somebody else drops in the box, and they hit that spot right over them, whether if it's an RPO or if it's a planned pass. So a lot of what we're going to have to do on defense is to be able to get them in off downs, to be able to get them in second and longs, and to be able to put them in situations that isn't really conducive to their game plan. They're going to have great plays. They're going to be momentum shifts, and they're going to capitalize on a lot of them. But again, on our defense, it comes down to pressuring the quarterback, playing sound gap control defense, and having Denzel Ward and the gang have fun. You know, go out there and have fun. You're at home. You know, it's going to be the second half under the lights, so it's going to be that type of atmosphere where you can make a name for yourself, and this is the perfect game to do it.
Last time we saw the Buckeyes against a like talent team defensively, Oklahoma went up and down the field at will, and Baker Mayfield went to the front of the Heisman race. Have they gotten better? I guess we'll find out.
Again, it's just like we were talking about with Barrett. I mean, this is it. They've looked a lot better the last 5 weeks, but now you go play a big game. You play a top opponent. This is where we're going to find out. And I think it's, you know, it's like Evan said, certainly the DBs are going to be in the spotlight. They struggled against Oklahoma. They struggled earlier in the season. They look like they've gotten better, but I also think the linebackers are really important in this game. Saquon Barkley is such a threat out of a backfield. You've got to be in the right position. You've got to keep him in front of you and not let him get open. And then I think the one area where Ohio State does have a personnel advantage in this game is Ohio State's defensive line against Penn State's offensive line. So I want to see that defensive line go out there and dominate this game, because we know they're capable of doing it. They have a talent, but I don't feel like we've really seen them dominate a big game over the last couple of years. This is a game with all the talent Penn State has at the skill positions. If you want to control that game, that defensive line needs to get after that offensive line, put pressure on McSorley, and force him to make some mistakes.
We talked about it on the television show we do on Spectrum Sports, but one of the things that is there for the taking for Ohio State is you're going to have to win some one-on-one battles with these receivers and tight ends, because McSorley will throw the ball up. And if you can win one of those and you get a pick, then those are momentum swings. And so Ohio State has to take advantage when those things happen. This, a week ago, opened, I think, as a 10-point favorite for Ohio State. It's been bet down to 6, basically on what we saw Saturday from Penn State.
Absolutely.
Give me a feel. Who comes out on top on Saturday?
I feel like we're going to come out up top because of the mentality that we adopted early on in my career, and it's carried over to this team. And that's when we are in a game that we need to win and our back's against the wall, our mentality is, you will peel me off of this field before we lose a football game. Yeah. And that's a mentality that we have to adopt, and we have to succeed at doing it.
You know, I've been inclined to believe most of the year that Ohio State's going to win this game, but I think there's numerous factors that play into their favor. You're playing at home. You're coming off an open week. Urban Meyer has not lost since his first year at Bowling Green, coming off an in-season open week. So these are factors that should help Ohio State. But then I watched Penn State play against Michigan last week, and I go, this team's really good. And if I just look at football teams and what these teams have done this year, I think Penn State's the better football team. So that doesn't mean they're going to win. But I think if Ohio State's going to win, it's going to come right down to the wire, and I'm not going to be surprised if Penn State takes this one.
So who wins, Dan?
I
know you hedged there.
I'm going with Penn State. I got to go with a better football team.
Yeah, they have been. They have been. They have been the better football team. The reason I keep coming back to Ohio State is, and I was around Urban a little bit when he was at Florida. He just doesn't lose these games back to back, like to the same opponent. Like to lose 2 years in a row to Penn State with all that's on the line, when you talk about it would eliminate his team from the Big Ten pretty much, it would certainly eliminate him from the national championship picture, eliminates his quarterback from the Heisman race, and to think he would lose 2 years in a row to Penn State and that Penn State would become the preeminent program in the Big Ten, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that. I think about when he was at Florida, he played Georgia and Florida State 12 times. He lost twice. Like, do I really think he's going to lose to Penn State 2 years in a row coming off a bye week? I just can't get there. So my faith's in Urban, and he's always been someone who's delivered on that faith in the past. So I think Ohio State does handle business, but I still think there's a really good chance both these teams are in the playoff because I think you're going to get a classic on Saturday night.